Did somebody say weeaboo? Cause I think I just heard somebody say weeaboo. Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Although I've not been doing too good at the daily part of that, but I'm trying. God damn it, I'm trying. Anyways, today we're jumping back into rSlash EntitledParents. We took a little trip off into neckbeard and weeaboo land, and I'll be honest, one of these stories still has a weeaboo in it, as you can probably tell from the title, so I'm excited to get into it. As usual, these stories were handpicked by our very own Lady Nix, so big tip of my fedora to her. I don't actually wear a fedora. But anyways, without any further delay, let's jump into this entitled parent cringe. The biggest mega Karen mother tries to get my friend with her daughter while also trying to convince him that coronavirus was started by flu vaccines that were activated by 5G to mind control people. Oh, just the title. That's a ride already. Obligatory not me, sorry for formatting. Characters, OP, that's me. EP, entitled Mega Karen Parent. FR is friend. Mom is my mother. A bit of backstory. So Mom is a professional fitness trainer at a gym. She kicks butt at it too. We had just gotten done working out and I was waiting for her behind the counter with my friends. Entitled Parent comes up to the counter to check out while I'm browsing Reddit, and I wasn't paying much attention until she said she wrote a best-selling book. I love to read, so I asked her what it was about. But then, the word vomit began. First, she started talking about how coronavirus was started by flu vaccines in 2017. Now friend was very confused. She continued with, well, it was activated by 5G towers. You know how they put 5G towers in big cities? Well, that's where the coronavirus outbreaks happen the most. Now at this point, I thought she was just a regular entitled Karen parent, so I was gonna tell her that the big cities were possibly, maybe being affected more because I think that they probably have a high population density. Duh. But then the word vomit went from level 1 to level 5 in a matter of like 2 seconds. She started talking about how her psychic powers and healing through emotions, and that you could be cured by any disease by just being positive. Apparently she has gone on world tours to talk about this, and she even wrote books about it. And this is when I realized that this is no normal Karen. No. This was not even a Mega Karen. This was the Ultra Mega Karen. She literally wrote the book on being a Karen and an anti-vaxxer. This was where she went from word vomit 5 to frigging 10,000. She then explained that the government set up Trump to be elected in 2020, but they didn't expect him to stop illegal drugs and human trafficking, and that was predicted by The Simpsons. Yeah, The Simpsons. Uh-huh.
Why do people run from me?
And they want to take over the world by a cancer vaccine that controls your mind. And that the government is murdering all of the scientists making cancer vaccines so they can inject people with fake vaccines that are the mark of the devil because the patent number is 606060 or something along those lines. So yeah, she's pretty mental. In all the 10-ish years I've lived here, I've never run into a Karen or entitled parent, but it gets even worse. But wait, there's more! She then starts talking about her daughter, who is 20, and how entitled parent tries to make her into a psychic like her, while her father wants her to be a doctor. She then tells friend that they have similar personalities and auras and energies, and that they should get together sometime. Now at this point, I'm kinda stunned, but friend keeps his composure and replies, sure, that sounds fun. At this point, Mom is done with her workout and comes behind the counter and says, OP, you ready to go? And I say probably too loud, yeah, we should go right now. She then asks, eyeing entitled parent, what's the matter? I say, I'll tell you when we get to the car, but before we can leave, friend says, Mom, this is entitled parent. And so they engage in conversation. Mom is slowly getting more and more weirded out before finally escaping entitled parent's word vomit stream. We finally left, luckily, and now I have the ability to say that I survived the super ultra mega Karen. Luckily for us, and sadly for your readers, there was no violence. Sorry if it was bland, I just had to share. TLDR. You should have just tried to one-up her crazy, OP. Be like, yeah, I drink devil semen and birds are spies for the United States government. We all know this already, Karen. Try to catch up. What a loony. I don't think she was actually on any bestseller lists. Unless it was, you know, one of those lists that was unrecognized. Like, I could make my own bestseller list and put my own book at the top and then say, hey, I've been on a bestseller list. Was it the New York Times bestseller list? No, it was Dayton's bestseller list, but my book sold the best out of the other books on the list. So she seems not only like an insane idiot, but also a perpetual liar. Do you think maybe that if this is the actual ultra mega Karen, if we kill her, then all the other Karens will like fall over dead? Because I'm willing to try it. If anybody out there's with me, let me know in the comments. And with all that said, we're gonna jump into the next story. Entitled Mother in a Restroom Tries to Kick Me Out. This happened yesterday, and I still can't get my mind around it. I'm a minor, so I don't really know what this lady was talking about whatsoever. I went grocery shopping with my mom, who gave birth a little more than a week ago. I was there to help her out with some of the heavy lifting. Near the end, I had to use the restroom, like a normal person. I went in, did my business, and started to wash my hands. I hear the dreaded ahem mating call of the Karen behind me, and I just knew what was about to happen. I am a girl. I was born a girl. I just have short hair and wear a chest binder sometimes, mostly for cosplay or shirts that don't fit otherwise. You can't be in here. That's gross and perverted, she screamed at me, and I stood there dumbfounded. Excuse me? I don't like your type in the same bathroom as my child. I looked over to see her daughter, who looked to be about my age, maybe younger. What are you talking about? I was so confused. You belong in the men's bathroom, where you belong, she began screaming. I finally realized that she thought I was trans, which still isn't okay. Trans women are women too. I looked at her, made my hand into a fist, and hit my crotch. And hit my crotch as hard as I could to prove that I didn't have male genitalia. I continued to wash my hands and left angrily. God. Oh, the only dick in this bathroom is you, Karen. I hate how this hatred basically is thinly veiled of like, oh, think of the children.
No, stop. Think of the children.
I don't want you in here because of my daughter. It's like, what if your daughter wasn't in here? Then you'd just be fine. You'd just go into the stall and take a piss and mind your own fucking business like you should have done in the first place. Ugh. It gets me so triggered, dude. She's obviously not hurting anyone or anything. You're just there to basically ruin somebody's day. But I really love that that power move, dude. Punch yourself in the crotch. I mean, a cunt punt, you know, that still hurts. Nowhere near as much as getting kicked in the boys, but I'm sure it still hurts. And you said you punched yourself as hard as you could? That's a total power move. If anybody won this confrontation, you would have won it by staying silent, but you won it like twice by punching yourself in the crotch. That mental image is just so funny. Oh, I love it. Absolutely awesome. Good job, OP. Thanks for sharing. Now with that said, we'll jump into the next story. All brown people are Spanish, says Karen. What? Note, I live in Manchester, UK, where most brown people are of Asian or Arabian descent. Backstory, I'm a second-generation Indian immigrant on my mother's side. My father's side is Jewish and is quite a mixed pot. His mother's side being from Eastern Europe and Canada, his father's side being from Israel and Canada. All of these races mixed together give me a light brown skin color. I'm lucky because I can pass as white, meaning that I don't get much racial harassment from people who don't know me. That being said, I'm still often mistaken as being of Hispanic origin, but most of these assumptions end with an apology from their side. All but this one. Is that the extent of racial harassment? They called you Hispanic? This was pre-COVID, and I was at an ice skating rink with some friends. They'd got off to get some snacks, and I was doing laps of the rink when a lady walked up to me, holding her phone. She was glancing back and forth from me to her phone, and our conversation went as follows. Karen in the strong North American accent. Hola, me llamo Karen. Hello, my name is Karen. It's probably worth noting that I know how to hold up a very basic conversation in Spanish, so this may have led to some confusion on her part. OP, hello. Karen. Yeah, hi. I was just wondering if you'd be willing to teach my son Spanish? OP. Oh, I'm not a fluent speaker. I couldn't teach someone for the life of me. Karen. But you do speak the language, right? You can teach as you learn. OP. I barely can. I only know some from school and from some friends. Karen. Liar! You're clearly Hispanic. All Hispanic people speak Spanish. You're just a lazy brat. OP. Okay, first of all, I'm Indian. I don't know where you got the Spanish thing from. And second, that is an extremely sweeping statement. Karen. Oh, come on. Every person with brown skin that she really elongated the I, know are Spanish. OP. Listen, Karen, maybe that's the case in America, but not around here. Now, I'm off to get some crisps with my mates. If you follow me, I'll call 999 and tell them that a middle-aged woman is harassing me. Karen. Oh my god, your English is terrible. Crisps isn't a word, they're called chips. Americans saying that their version of a language that we made is the correct one is a massive trigger for me, so I had to bite my tongue to stop myself from cussing her out. OP, I'm warning you, walk away. At this point, she realized I wasn't bluffing. I walked away in a huff. I decided not to tell my friends since I didn't want to make a big deal. No big deal, Brett. Had a bunch of Karen encounters, but this one was by far the funniest, and also the worst. Edit. Wow, this blew up while I was out. Thank you all for your upvotes, kind strangers. By the way, I know that not all Americans are like that. I think you would be hard-pressed to find even one American like that. At least one that could afford to travel outside of the country. They're out there, but they're mostly confined to a trailer park for most of their lives. I don't know, this story has like a rotten stench to me. I really don't buy much, if any of it, at all. If Karen is on vacation, why is she looking for a Spanish teacher for her son? And in the UK, nonetheless. If you were in Spain, then I'd be like, okay, a little more plausible. From the touch of virtue signaling at the start where he's like, I don't get harassed because of my race because I look white. If you find that you're getting harassed because of your race in your life day to day, it's probably because you're looking very, very hard for microaggressions. This whole story stinks. Basically completely made up as far as I can tell, just for some fake internet points. And all you're really doing is increasing racial tension for the people that actually buy this tripe. Pathetic. And also, chips are not called crisps, okay? I understand you're protective of the English language, but like you said, you're only second generation, so if it's real, I apologize on behalf of North America. If it's not real, I want to slap you in the mouth. And right now, I'm leaning towards it's not real. So, you know, good try, OP, little dash of like, I am very badass in there. It's like, I'm serious, you leave me alone or I'm gonna call the cops on a middle-aged woman. OP's just a weenie. But I did tell Lady Nix that I wanted some duds, so this was definitely a big old dudder. If you guys buy this, then let me know why in the comments, but I'm definitely leaning towards this is a fake as hell story. Anyways, let's jump into that last story, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Mother forces me to invite her weeaboo son into the Japanese group chat. Yes! Weeaboo! Weeaboo! Did somebody say weeaboo? Cause I think I just heard somebody say weeaboo! 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 For starters, I wasn't born in Japan. I was born in Canada and raised by Japanese immigrants, so my Japanese is decent. Last year, I got accepted for a hockey scholarship to a boarding school in the US, and that's the school that I attend now. At this school, there are actually quite a lot of Japanese students from Japan and from the US or Canada who are ethnically Japanese, like me. So, a few years ago, they started a group chat for Japanese people at that school, where people just chat among other Japanese people. Basically, the only requirement for joining is that you are Japanese. However, some people who are not Japanese have still been let in because they spoke fluent Japanese and had most of their friends in this group chat, so it's kind of exclusive. Here's where our friend, who I'm going to call Henry, comes into the story. He's the kind of white American who is obsessed with Japanese culture and entertainment like anime and J-pop, so much to the point that he will refuse to watch American movies and TV shows and avoid them like the plague. And as a Japanese Canadian, I have no problem with that, and my friends seem to agree. During one of our online sessions, I was giving a presentation with screen share and had my WhatsApp web app on my app bar, and I right-clicked to close it for a split second. Henry sees it and loses all interest in class, and keeps on asking questions about it until the teacher muted him. And while I was doing my presentation, my phone was getting hundreds of texts from Henry, asking him to be let in. Kinda entitled, but I politely say that it's a group chat for Japanese people, but he won't shut up, so I block his number. Maybe 3 hours later, I get called by an unknown number, so I decline. Then, that same number calls me again, and again, until I pick up thinking it might be important. But no, it's an angry middle-aged Karen. Entitled Mother.
Why didn't you let my son in your anime fan chat?
OP. Sorry, man, but it's a group chat for Japanese people at insert school name. Entitled Mother.
Well, I'm sorry. You have to accept him because it has the school's name on it. And what do you think the school would say?
OP. Okay, fine. I'm sorry, I'll let him in. Big mistake. I didn't want to let him in, but a lady yelling at you threatening to tell the school is a bit intimidating. So anyway, he gets let in, and surprisingly, he types in Japanese. I'm actually surprised, but after a little while we realized that he was using Google Translate to type. Also another reason why it took a whole minute to get a short response from him. After realizing that, we started ignoring him, realizing how difficult it was to talk to him, and this made his mom pissed. The next day she spams my phone again, and this time enlightens me with her new logic. Entitled Mother.
You children better speak in English. It's hard enough for Henry to talk to you guys.
OP. I'm sorry, man, but this group chat was for us to talk in Japanese. Otherwise, it's just another group chat. Entitled Mother.
That's not okay. You may not exclude my son. The school will hear about this and you'll lose your scholarship and you'll have to go back to Corona Land.
First of all, what? The virus originated from China, but her country has the most cases out of all the countries. Also now, I'm kinda concerned. She is a lawyer, I think, and can probably get me kicked out with her aggressiveness. But anyways, I blocked her, and now I think she's gonna email them. TLDR, American weeaboo's mom forces her son's way into a Japanese group chat and gets mad when we speak in Japanese and his Google Translate is not fast enough. Then he tries to get rid of my hockey scholarship to my school by telling the school that I'm bullying her son. We'll post update when I get an email from them. Hey! Edit 1. I've received an email from the technology director at my school saying that even if it doesn't have the school's name on it, we must speak in English and let him remain, otherwise it is bullying, which is complete bullshit. So what we're gonna do is abandon this group chat and make another one and leave his entitled ass in that group. Also, the director said that's a stupid reason to get rid of my hockey scholarship, so I guess I'm not in that much trouble. I'm pretty split in my feelings on this whole situation. Part of me says, fucking let it go, Henry. Why you want to interact with people who don't want to interact with you anyways? Then the other half of me says, what if I have a group chat that's only for people of Norwegian descent? If you don't have blonde hair and blue eyes, then you cannot join this chat. The SPLC, or whatever the Canadian equivalent of that is gonna crawl right up your anus in no time flat. So it's quite strange to me that OP thinks that it should be acceptable for him to exclude people based on their race, when obviously he was not excluded based on his race. You know what I mean? When I was in Japan, there were bars that were Japanese only, but guess what? I was in Japan. You come to Canada, you come to the US, there are no bars that say, oh, this is only for white Americans. White Americans only, you gotta get out of here. Because that's egregious, that's racist, that's horrible. So at the end of the day, I guess my verdict would be if you want to live in a Western country, yeah, you gotta follow Western rules. And in Western countries, everybody is included, regardless of color or capability. So what if he's using Google Translate? Why are you so offended by that? Google Translate's a great way to learn. I learned most of my Tagalog through Google Translate. they've got like this really cool breakdown on the bottom when you put in a sentence, and it shows you like which part of the word means this or that. And I think if he was given some time and not excluded for no reason whatsoever aside from the color of his skin and the fact that he likes anime, then perhaps he would learn some Japanese, but OP's just being a dick. So yeah, that's 2 stories where I'm kind of against the OP. This might not be a popular episode, but I gotta calls it like I sees it, you know what I mean? I do think it is sort of a shame that this Henry fellow is basically only into Japanese like popular culture and doesn't really understand the rest of the culture. But how's he ever gonna become enlightened to that fact if he's constantly excluded from things? So, I don't know, OP. He might be a weeb, but that doesn't mean that you gotta be a dick about it, you know? He's interested in your culture, so allow him to participate until he does something that's actually egregious. And enthusiasm does not count as that egregious thing, asshole. Anyways, before I rage too hard, I'm gonna get out of here. I definitely appreciate you guys listening along with me today. And if you enjoyed the episode, I hope that you'll like, comment, and or subscribe. Check out the links in the description to Twitter, Discord, Patreon, and my other channel. And of course, I'd like to shout out my lovely, lovely patrons as always. We've got Just Austin, Robert Waits, Dot Nathan, Crims Nalbedo, Lady Nix, Radimus Cisco, Damon Darkstar, the OG, the oldest of them all, Nico the Legend, and the newest of them all, Mr. Weasel. Welcome back. If you'd like to join the Patreon, that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. I'm recording custom voice lines, chatting with people in the Discord weekly. I want to put together like some fun streams and stuff like that. I got a lot of ideas. So if you guys can, if you guys are willing, I'd appreciate if you'd support. If you can't, that's cool. I appreciate you watching the video, especially if you've watched it this far. Anyways, as always, friends, I hope that you'll take care of yourselves out there. Wear your masks. Do not forget to wash your hands. Just wash them all the time. Somebody told me something yesterday that rung quite true, and it was, just because you're over coronavirus does not mean that coronavirus is over. You know what I mean? It's still out there. I know it's hard to be scared for 6 months straight, but you don't need to be scared. Just be wary. So I hope you guys will join me again tomorrow. Thank you once again. Please take care of yourselves because you are worthy, you are loved, and you are definitely, definitely worth it. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, bye-bye. I'm off to get some crisps. I'm off to get some crisps with my mates.